Okay, yeah, back at it again in a different spot. Been meaning to try out a few more different spots. I got a couple in mind. It all just kind of depends on where I want to set up the cameras and how that all kind of works out logistically, with it being in nature, because the other locations and the last ones I was at, it's kind of hard to get to with all the shrubbery. So I'm back here. A few things have happened. It hasn't been too long. I think we're within the same month. Probably not though. From the last time I recorded with Alex, I wrote down a couple of things that I really wanted to talk about that have been on my mind. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I should have went back and watched what exactly was said with the Alex story, but pretty sure I left off at a certain point. They're pretty much all related to my job hunting stories and a couple of the other things I wrote down last time, but wasn't really trying to get into because Alex was there. I mean, I guess I'll start with the light stuff first to just get it out the way. But there's been a bunch of stuff going on with my car recently. I guess right now is somebody tried to break in, or at least some people tried to break in, multiple attempts and failed, and kind of jacked up my keyhole. Not that I can't get in my car, but it just kind of looks whack. It looks kind of constipated. They also tried to steal my spoiler and realized that somebody had already tried stealing it and gave up, but literally sawed my something in half. That spoiler, the pipe connected to the spoiler. So that sucked. That shit's just dirty as hell, and I don't really care much to clean it. I'm not really trying to impress anybody anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on with my car recently. But furthermore, there's this whole situation happening, and it's pretty insane. I'm being sued for $50,000 for, I don't even know how to say it properly. I'm being sued for $50,000 based off events that never happened. And it's been going on for, at least 5-6 years. They had been searching for me, and if they had just waited a little longer, it would have legally been the amount of time that you could have spent searching for somebody to sue them. But all of a sudden, my lawyers catch hold of this. They find me, and they're like, yeah, we should just get this out the way. It's not gonna be a big deal. Long story short, it's a pretty big fucking deal. It's a long, drawn-out process. I'm having to go to court soon in the fall, but the idea is to elongate the process because it's a long story, but I shouldn't even get too deep into it because the legalities of it all or whatnot. I wouldn't want my videos to be used against me in any way. So yeah, that's pretty much my car stuff to the extent that I want to go into about it. As far as cuffed, I think that's relevant because this last week I went pretty hard, and I say it every single time, so it's really not news, but I'm really tidying up the sound and score. I got a chance to go to Sony studios, and I got a chance to sit behind Kai, our sound mixer, and Dan, who's been helping Kai mix the score and sound effects and sound for Cuffed at Sony, and it was dope. It was really awesome. I actually took footage, so I just realized now that I'm talking about it, I'm gonna put footage over what I'm talking about. So it worked really good together. We all three of us did, and we enhanced the music. I made sure I got all my notes covered, and there's one last thing I asked them to do, and they wanted it to be done in a week, and I was trying to give them the rest of the month, which is at least 2 or a week and a half, 2 weeks to a week and a half. So I'm thinking we're still not rushed for any time, we still have at least till mid-September. That was exciting. That was awesome. From doing all this stuff and all the job rejections, it's still kind of a reminder, hey, you're still doing this thing. People still believe in you.
You know what? Yeah. You might be able to get it with Beat Home, dude. Well, you basically just need to make a bus track.
He's still have
Just do audio speak.
really awesome resources and connections and friends.
Try D-Hum first.
Went to sushi afterwards, right down the way. It's been a minute since I've been to Culver City. I hadn't really been to Culver City like that, so it was kind of cool. Those guys are freaking awesome. Going into the job stuff, I'll explain, why it was really kind of even more refreshing to be outside, talking to those guys specifically. But, other than it just being outside from being inside the whole time and not really being up to much. So before I did the sound and score thing, I was able to, update Karina and Steve on what was going on. But prior to that, there's this whole thing going on. So basically, Stephanie, or my editor, she went to CSUN to wrap up what she needed to do. I still don't 100% know what exactly it was, but to the extent of my knowledge, she made sure that they're trying to make sure that the Adobe After Effects credits are compatible with Avid Media, so that there's no problems when they go to color it and export it. That's I think dumbing it down. Like no one's been able to say it like that, but ultimately, I'm pretty sure all their editor jargon is that, because I'm not even that technical. I can edit and express what you want. I'm a picture editor, but shoot, you want me to dissect the software and everything? I'm not an engineer. So yeah, and now it's being handled by another person who's going to be handling that situation for all the rest of the CSUN shorts, who's apparently an alumni coming back to do some stuff. That's pretty annoying, but it's out of Stephanie's hands. It's been out of our hands. Ours being mine, Steve's, and Karina's. And yeah, Karina's been in India this whole time, and she's been checking up and everything. So it's been really dope just to know that everybody's okay and enough to actually care. And still care. It's been so long. One of the things that it's been really hard to talk about is the fact that one of my actors passed away in the film. And she was awesome. I mean, she volunteered when I needed help for a character that I just did not cover. I was prepared in every other way, but this character I didn't think about whatsoever. And she came to set for a couple of days to help out during principal photography. The most I knew about it was that she was in my sound guy Jeremy's improv club. And, I got a chance to promote Cuffed there at one of the club sessions. It was dope. I don't even remember officially really meeting her until I asked anybody to volunteer for this character on set, and she raised her hand and she said she was going to do it. And I didn't think twice either, what I'm saying? I knew enough about her to know that she was dope, she was awesome, and she was talented. And she actually plays a character in a pivotal point in the film. It's a turning point for my film. And she also was a class behind me, so she got her senior thesis picked as well, and shot, and it incorporated animation, and pretty great conceptually. It was shot well. It was gonna be awesome once everything was fleshed out. She passed away in February. I didn't know till mid-March to some illness that she had been fighting pre-COVID. She had been sick with it. Steve reached out to her brother to see if we can get the blessing to have some sort of title card in her for Cuffed. At the end, he said yes. It was fine. He felt it was necessary. I was like, yeah, I love, she's forever, eternally intertwined with Cuffed. I'm never going to be able to escape that, so I might as well embrace her and, what happened. Even if I don't exactly know what happened. And so the professors are fighting that. They don't want us to put a card at the end of the short, mainly because they have stuff planned for her during the premiere, but also her film did make it into the showcase, which is the premiere. And her cohort, I guess her crew, are going to be dedicated, I'm assuming, to finishing her film, which is incredible, you know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happened. So yeah, the job hunting stuff. One of the reasons why I really enjoyed hanging out with Kai and Dan, or like I guess Kai in general, but like looking forward to hanging out with these guys in the future, is because we're in a similar field of work, similar departments. Them being in sound and me being in post editing, we're still in the umbrella of post production. It's good to hear their perspective on things and things that they hear versus what I've been hearing. Kai was working on Into the Spider-Verse, and then they pushed the premiere date back. They ended up letting everybody go that was working on it until a later time. So yeah, he's been swimming just like I have and floating. You know what I'm saying? It's gotten to the point where we got to pretty much consider unemployment. Yeah, so I've been thinking about doing that too, but at the same time, like, I feel like I could be using my time better. I say this all because another thing that I'm hearing is, this summer, or summers in general, are pretty much kind of dead zones for post-production right now, apparently. And this one in particular, just because, we're still coming up out of that pandemic, and it's pretty competitive right now. A lot of us are getting beaten out by older, more experienced people. And so, yeah, I guess I'll tell the stories. It's kind of suck, but I'll start with my assistant directing stories. Like, all of this sucks harder because of the connections that I feel like I've made, and the way I thought things would go, and like the idea of it's not the friends you make, it's the hands you shake. But sometimes it is the friends you make, and that's kind of the route that I tend to go without even really intending to go that way. I get these job opportunities sent to me personally by an assistant director, and they're telling me to make sure when I reach out to the job recruiter to let them know that the assistant director, they're backing me up. I sent my resume to the recruiter people, and I let them know who sent me. I did that twice, and there was 2 gigs, and I didn't hear anything back. The reason why I separated that story from the others is because that's assistant directing and in front of the camera, on stage, versus editorial production versus editorial. So I got these other gigs. In 2019, I was at a Disney Network mixer, and it was cool. I went with Shari and everything for the Academy Gold program. Get there, it was weird, but like I was still in college, but for the most part, I think it was a job mixer. And long story short, I ended up meeting the vice president of Disney Animation post-production. And it was great because she was working on Frozen 2. And at the time, I got my acting mentor, Sterling K. Brown, and he's in Frozen 2. That was awesome. It was great to be able to talk to her and have something to talk about. And, she was saying how much my Abbott certification, kind of matters, moving forward. That was in 2019. Fast forward, Shari again can't do this job, so she throws me the lob. It turns out this is an executive assistant job for the VP at Disney Animation, post-production. And I was in the interview and I didn't really even put it all together. A lot of the information was emerging as I was realizing what the interview was about. So my interviewer was, like, oh wow, this all kind of makes sense. And like, oh, Shari, oh, like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it was all just looking good, and then it takes a minute for the interview to happen. Number two is, rarely is there ever interview number two, because usually it's interview number two, and like that's because we want you. Interview number two happens right along when I was getting another opportunity for post-production coordinator for Viacom and Awesomeness TV. Making really good connections with Billy, the post-production coordinator and producer for Nickelodeon and Viacom, for Danger Force and Henry Danger and stuff. He hooked me up with the vice president of post-production for Viacom and Awesomeness TV. I felt like that was great. I felt like, I was just doing my thing, making connections. The post-production coordinator hooks me up with Sean and sends my resume. He's telling me don't respond to him until he responds to us. So then I didn't, and then I ended up getting a job offer from somebody else telling me that it was from Sean. Sean gave them my resume when I still haven't spoken words with Sean at all. That was kind of cool. I was excited, but I was caught off guard. I wanted to say yes in the middle of that interview, but I told them I wanted to make sure that things were good with the Disney people before I said yes. And so she said, yeah, I'll give you till the next day at like 12, right? I go ahead and do that. I have the interview finally, and for the Disney animation interview, the executive assistant, it was great. Before I could say anything, Bernice remembered me, and the production coordinator was like surprised that we knew each other. She was like, yeah, her hair was shorter, mine was longer, all this stuff, and it was great. The thing was, I was able to tell her that I went from getting him, Sterling K. Brown, as my acting mentor, to asking to voice a character in the short and everything, and kind of told them my story, and that I'm green and I'm ready to help and everything. They ultimately were like, yeah, it's a production assistant job. The executive part's just because you're working with the VP, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that, and then it's just pretty much the animation aspect that I was missing. But other than that, the production coordinator would ask, is my short animated, right? After all the stuff that I was said, and I was like, well, no, it's not, but I have other ideas. So it was a good interview until I kind of revealed that I had another opportunity. Yeah, they didn't want to waste any more time. And it felt like the other opportunity was saved for me anyway. Even though that the energy changed, I wasn't tripping. I mean, I think the cameras are about to stop right quick, but yeah, so ultimately I didn't get the job in that same day, and I had the interview. It hurt more than I realized. So I didn't have time to process that, because literally the next day, the same day when I was supposed to check back in with the lady for Viacom, she ends up giving the job to another person that's got more, it's more qualified. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Kind of a tease. It was a two swords situation. Swords stabbing situation. It was a big oof. Those are my biggest connections. Those are my strongest. Those made the most sense. Those made the most sense. All right. Those jobs made the most sense for me to successfully secure. And I feel like I fumbled the bag with how things happened and that there was a way around it. And ultimately it's a learning thing. And at the time I was thinking like, that's a connection that was from 3 years ago and was still kind of advantageous to me. So there's nothing stopping my mentality and believing like that might pop up again in the future, or any one of the instances I met anyone in the past could be a possibility in the future. I don't know why, but ever since that week, I kind of just slowed down with the job hunting and kind of just like let everything kind of sink in, because I didn't really have much else. It was the Viacom peeps and the Disney peeps. You know, I don't know, so I ended up trying to focus on writing and editing my YouTube videos. Gotten somewhere at least on writing and incorporating all of my other ideas into the decision script I wrote with Alex. So it's gotten bigger and I'm really happy where it's gotten. I need to fill in a couple of spots. I need to fill in what the main character is going to be doing as what the character does on a daily basis, what that character falls off from doing and loves, and then how the character picks back up from where they left off and gets the mojo and drive to do it back again with the help of his friends. And then ultimately I need to know how I end it. And then when we get into the script phase, we'll make it funny. And I say we, I'm talking me, Benji, Alex, you know, whoever we can get, Shari. Try to do this thing, try to put something together when we have the opportunity to, because it's all around us, everything's right here, so we might as well try. I don't know, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on myself, but it's been hard to move forward on ideas and get myself to do stuff. I gotta, you know, get out of my apartment in order to be creative or, you know, anything. Like I downloaded this Creative Dice app, you know, Creative Die, I guess. Wrote down a couple of ideas just from the die, and like they're pretty fun. Got my creative juices flowing, and I think that helped. But you know, there's nothing. I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. Yeah. Oh, well, ultimately, I think I was just kind of distracting myself from getting sad about the job stuff. That's how I know there's always different stories, different versions of how people get into the industry. Because with Shari, for example, she didn't have a very good senior thesis experience. So that was kind of poopy. And now Shari, when it popped off in her contest for DreamWorks Universal, and she's taking advantage of it. While I'm kind of struggling to find my footing in the industry, granted that she had time to get her footing pre-pandemic. Similarly, Stephanie had a rough senior thesis situation, and her post-production is still pretty bad too right now. Stephanie and I were on the same kind of wave for a minute. She was like the same wave as Kai and Dan, so we were all kind of, you know, working our way up towards something. Stephanie gets the opportunity to get a job where she can get the hours, get into the Editors Guild, and then to the American Cinema Editors Guild Union, which is great, you know. I love that she was able to do that. It's freaking awesome. She deserves all the, you know, where she's worked for. And, you know, Troy Takaki ends up being the president of the American Cinema Editors, so they finally got to speak. And, like, we're all in good people. We're all kind of awesome. And, you know, it all kind of just depends on what time people pop off at. It's just different times. But yeah, it's kind of rough regardless of time just to watch as it goes down. But I will always give props and be supportive of my friends. I was just hanging with Stephanie last night with some other homies. She's doing good. Like all the things that she was talking about, she's able to execute and put into motion with her life, with her actual life. It's not so much a focus on the career anymore, right? So it's gonna be dope. I'm really happy for her. I mean, there's more girl stuff, but it doesn't really lead to anything. One of my friends is dealing with a breakup, so I've been trying to help take him out and show him the bachelor life. That's been fun, you know, talking to, you know, a lot of new people, and a lot of new personalities, you know, seeing what we can get into. You know, nothing serious, but yeah, a lot of old stuff in the past, good and bad, have been coming back. Swinging back, spinning back, taking notice on how I have been handling them. I think it's crazy because, you know, I don't want anything. I don't want anything enough. I don't want anything enough as what I used to want. Like the feeling and drive to do things. Just not even things, just something. And focus in on something. I don't know, that probably means that I have a lot on my mind, but that's what this is for. Either way, I still need to hit up the people I need to hit up, reach out to those who I've been reaching out to, because it's been a minute. I'm going to see my family tomorrow, so that's going to be nice. I intended to undo my hair while I was talking, but I kind of got lost in the sauce. I really won't be doing that right now. It's also pretty hot, and I thought it was going to be pretty hot in this and be sweating, but I'm actually okay. I've made it back to Instagram. I'm gonna get all caught up to basically what I've been talking about in the YouTube videos. I say basically, barely. I at least talked about Danger Force and Fairly Odd Parents, and I got that. I just have been trying to think of a cause or charity to promote along with the donations to help produce a film. I don't even know if I talked about it last time, but the idea is to promote the premiere, the showcase in September, while advocating to donate to the GoFundMe for my other projects. While I am promoting the showcase that's going to happen in September, I'm going to be trying to fundraise for my other projects I have in the future, like the one in particularly that is the decisions script that I wrote with Alex. So that one I'm going to be promoting, and I would like there to be a charity that would like to donate a percentage of the proceeds. It would go to a particular charity. I'm not sure which one. You know, it's got to make sense. I think it's got to make sense in pertaining to the short itself. So I might need to rethink some things on how exactly I would go about writing the script and you know, the idea of what it's really going to be about. So I don't know. It's all going to do with some real discussion, like there's some hardcore discussing to see what makes sense and see what's possible, what we can really do. But yeah, we're gonna try to raise $10,000 so that we can try to give or donate like 20-30% to the charity. And I guess yeah, it'd be like 3 charities, and people would have like a decision. That's the idea so far, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before. That's what it's evolved into. As soon as we can do that, the sooner I might be able to do stuff. I mean, I say that I don't have the drive to do things. I just feel like I could be doing more. I wish I had the drive to do more every day, but don't right now. Has this been here the whole time? Probably. I didn't even check. It is what it is. That was a pretty good session. It was very fluid. I didn't even write very many things down. But I'll just end it on, I feel thankful, and I feel blessed, and I feel well. That I've kind of mellowed out. There's a little bit of me that wants to get the urgency to do things again. But for the most part, I think moving out of my place will really be beneficial. Not even moving in with people necessarily, but just moving out of my place into some place that's got more light. That's about it.